Yeah. So
All right, you have everybody's here.
Wow. What?
good.
Which brings me to some news. We have a new member. She was appointed last night, Dara Silver.
Yeah.
Is she here?
I'm here.
Oh, hey.
I'm just quiet.
Hi, Dara. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's good to see you all.
Welcome. This is great news.
Who's he taking?
She's filling out Harry's second term.
Yeah, shut. Thank
Oh,
you.
great. Oh, okay.
I'll mute myself again.
And then I have some bad news, which is that we have a vacant seat. Heather Levinson couldn't make it work in the current environment without school and
I feel
everything else.
I understand.
So her seat is now open for, and she was a county appointee, so they're going to be advertising that. Hopefully, we'll have somebody by October.
Okay.
So
I can't hear you, Elizabeth. Look at your mute button up top. See if it's muted.
Hi, Kelly.
Yeah.
Do we have to do anything about filling that seat? We don't, do we? The county does that? Okay,
county does it.
sounds good. Hi, Dara. I didn't know I was on mute that whole time, so hello.
Hey, Elizabeth.
Everybody did it at least once. So
All right. Well, you'll want to call the meeting to order.
Yes, let's call the meeting to order.
2:05. So,
You call out the names there, Kelly.
oh, see how fast we forget. Okay. India Beal,
Here.
David Finn,
Here.
Tara Silver,
Here.
Betsy Towns,
Here.
Elizabeth Ripetti,
Here.
Janie Wilson,
Here.
Jane Dabb,
I'm muted. Sorry. Hi, I'm here.
Barbara Campbell,
Here.
and John Rushton.
here. Why am I always last? What is that? What are you saying about that? Right, I'm always last.
You are the last letter on the county side.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
I'll have to talk to them about it then.
Talk to the alphabet people. So we have this chair vice chair election for anybody who doesn't remember or didn't learn why we're doing this. I can quickly update you all. We had a chair and vice chair election because we were under the impression that David, who was the chair, couldn't serve anymore, and that he had to leave the Public Art Commission. Lo and behold, he didn't have to leave the Public Art Commission. So I wanted to give you all a chance to have an election where you knew who all the possible candidates were. So you can all do that now. Somebody can nominate anybody or talk about it. And
I nominate David. That was so hard.
Janie, are you okay with all this stuff going
Oh,
on? I
yeah,
know.
absolutely, because I've told several of you that once we get the portrait project to bed, so to speak, and up and running and all that, I intend to step away because I've got some other commitments and stuff like that, and I feel like I've sort of Peter Principled out of this committee. So,
Mhm. Well, David's Peter Principled out, but you are not Peter Principled.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Just kidding, David.
I don't, so Janie, does that mean that when you say step away, leave the committee?
Yeah, I intend to leave the whole commission committee, like I said, after the portrait project is done, which I think is the next couple of months.
Mhm.
Not.
Maybe?
It's not.
Not. Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
So if it's not
Okay.
I am the chair of the art department now. So I have a ridiculously heavy workload, but this is a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Now, we
think
just
so.
put it that way. It
That's
just
good.
shows you what passes for fun in my life.
Mhm.
So do we need I can second the nomination for David because he's the only one that has sparkly green things around his head. So
He does. It's like,
he should be the king. If he had-
It's my virtual reality right back there.
None of us have
I like
sparkling
it.
green things around us.
So do you want to have a nomination for vice chair at this point too? And do it all in one vote, Kelly? That's my question, I guess, or,
Why don't we do the chair vote first?
okay. So move the question.
David, do you want to do it?
That's a good question. I mean,
Thank you. I'm glad somebody.
Oh, you don't like being railroaded?
I will do it if you guys want me to do it. If you really do.
We
I will
do.
it.
Absolutely.
I don't mind. Okay.
Mm-hmm. We do.
No, to be honest with you, Kelly really does all the work. So, I mean, you do a lot of work, Kelly. You're really excellent, and so that's really important. But I think this is a great committee, and I hope that we can, get another new member and keep growing. So that's my concession speech right there.
Well,
Anybody
David,
wants to be chair, I would really urge you to step up, Betsy.
what was that? I was just going to speak to say what knowledge and what strong kind of philosophical commitment to community engagement and to collaboration on this committee that you bring. So I'm very thankful that you're willing to consider leading us a bit longer.
That's very kind. So
yeah, your second speech wasn't that great, but
Okay, we have first and a second. Should I call the roll, or is there more discussion?
no,
No more
Yes.
discussion.
no.
I have
Call
no
the roll.
investment in this. Believe me, you can discuss, you can challenge.
All right, I'll call the roll unless anybody wants to say anything else. India,
I'm just gonna say, yeah, I think he'd be great.
Comfortable wedding.
David,
I'm going to abstain.
Sarah,
Right.
I,
Betsy,
Aye.
Elizabeth,
Aye.
Janie,
Yes.
Jane, Deb,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
John, Rushton.
We.
Okay. And now.
Thank you all. Just say thank you.
Thank
all
you.
for making this election easier than usual.
Okay, are there any nominations for vice chair?
John Rushton.
Oh, I
Yes,
second
he was
that.
Drinking.
He spills water out.
It looks like
That was
coconut.
Elizabeth, and then was that Jane?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, any discussion?
Hmm.
John would be wonderful.
Mhm.
Sweet. Is the vice president also in charge of the entertainment committee still? Is that?
Looks
Party
like you
planning-
got that one covered.
Party planning committee.
Sure.
You have to take over from me when the sparkly green things fade.
I'm gonna have to add that now. I know.
But seriously, any other nominations? Anybody else feel inclined? It's what can you say about the job, Janie? You actually had to preside a lot too. So
It just depends on the chair schedule, and it's not that hard to do. I'm sure anybody on this committee could do all of this very, very well.
with one hand tied behind your back.
Yes.
Right.
All right, I'll call the roll again. India,
I.
David,
Hi.
Dara,
Aye.
Betsy,
Yes.
Elizabeth,
Aye.
Janie,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
and John.
Yes, he's great.
All right. We have a chair and a vice chair again.
Yay.
Okay.
Woo!
Thanks everybody for being here for this one. We didn't have quite so many members last time, and it's always good to feel like we've got like a quorum plus a couple to be able to. Although we don't have a big agenda, do we?
No, we don't. But our next thing is the approval of the July minutes.
Okay.
I move that we approve.
Do you have a second?
Second,
Who was that?
Janie.
What's Janie? All in favor? Remember, when we're doing this in Zoom, it's a voice call out. So Kelly you've just
All right.
doing this, but
India,
I agree.
Hey.
Yeah.
David,
yes.
Dara,
Yes.
Betsy,
Yes.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
Janie,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
and John.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Public art plan update. So the public art plan been slow to roll this out for public comment, just because it's taken a while to figure out exactly where we want to go as a planning department with this, having in-person meetings and bringing this to the city council with the election coming up, and our budget being what it is, etc. We've landed on a recommendation to do 3 in-person meetings where I'll present the plan to the public. 2 would be in the city and 1 would be in the county. People would have to sign up ahead of time. I'd like to even have them outside a park shelter or something like that if possible. They'll be physically distanced, etc. And then we'll do 2 online Zoom type meetings. And then bring this, do any edits that need to be made after the public input, and bring this to you all in October for a public hearing, and you can consider the document for adoption if that sits well with everybody. That'll give the public a lot of chances, to comment. We have an online survey. I've emailed it out to a lot of organizations, but this will help get the general public to see the plan more.
Kelly, do you need people to attend those people from this committee to attend those public hearings?
It might be good to have a public art commission representative there, just to, answer questions from your point of view if you want to. But it would be me and probably one or two other people from the planning department to handle most of it. I can, once we have them scheduled, I can send out the dates, and if you all want to, if you want to have a spot for one public art commission member to attend, we can do that.
Okay.
What do you think about the attendance at those events? And will that, I mean, you got advice from who was advising that to have those?
The planning director, we looked at doing probably having people sign up ahead of time and maybe doing a max of 15 people per meeting. And then I personally don't think that there's going to be a lot of interest in that, but I've been wrong. So we'll just schedule it and see how it goes, and then we'll have the Zoom meetings. I'll probably start with one Zoom meeting and then do the in-person meetings and then wrap it up with another Zoom meeting over the course of a few weeks, so that the advertising for it once it catches people's attention, they'll still have a chance to go to the Zoom meeting. They won't be left with only in-person meetings.
Is there anything, Kelly, are you doing anything where you take a screenshot of us having a meeting? I know you're recording, but are we letting the public know that we're still meeting, that we're still active? Okay, that's great.
Yeah, and we've been advertising on social media, just that we're having the meetings, and people can watch the meeting or participate. So
perfect. Okay, great.
Is the final meeting, is that with, tell me about the adoption. Is there a council meeting that we're looking at for adoption?
We would probably try after it goes to you all. We'd try to get it to City Council for November or December committee. So it needs to go to committee, and then it would go to full City Council.
Are there elements that you think, well, maybe this is, will it have a fair hearing in City Council? Will it be, have you sort of looked through that and decided that it's, with the public comment period, it would be ready to go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would be. In good shape. I think it's already in good shape, but we might have some interesting comments. The whole culture, the world has changed since it was written. So there could be something that's kind of slipping by that I haven't noticed yet.
Right. Okay.
Good point.
Kelly, have you heard anything from a small group of artists in town who have been going through our document paragraph by paragraph and looking to add some other parts to it about a percentage of funds going to local artists, a percentage to minority artists? That's yeah.
Unless it's in the survey, I haven't received anything email wise, but there could be something in the survey. I haven't looked at the survey in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't know how they were planning to present it. necessarily. It is a group of younger artists in the community.
Mhm.
So I don't know if they're waiting for public, you know, time frames, you know, when it does go out for groups to come in and give their responses or what. But I just know that there is a small group working on some things. So it may take some changes, you know.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then, we'll have, we'll kind of gather up all those comments and present them to you, and you can kind of vote on different changes if you want to.
Good. I'm glad there's some interest in that. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, especially when we think we're just working in a little silo here, you know, and really we're not. There are folks paying attention to what this committee is doing within the arts here in town. So, yeah.
Any other questions on that?
More discussion about Kelly's ideas for the rolling it out or having the public comment? Jane, probably you should, if you can, try to find out if it's an extensive kinds of edits, it may be, it would be helpful for them, the group that's doing it, and for us to also kind of know when that might take place. So it would go smoothly, and
I can inquire.
Be satisfied with how that discussion went.
I mean, would you prefer us an invitation on us to invite them to a sit-down discussion beforehand, or I guess I'm worried a little bit about if you have a Zoom meeting that one group take over with their own agenda, instead of it being an open discussion. So
I'd be interested to talk to them, just to kind of see what their recommendations are. And if it's,
okay.
Yeah, Jane, did somebody come to you kind of officially by saying?
No, well, they know I'm on the commission, and it's definitely, artists that have been involved in the arts district. And so I'm fairly available here. And I know a number of the folks who have been working through it. So, yeah. I just want to, I don't want to, in any way think anything they're bringing to us is a problem or shouldn't be listened to. I just, I would want the other meetings to be more open to everyone who attends, instead of it being, taking a different tone or anything. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's a small perception out there that we're kind of unapproachable, or a lot of people don't know when they get to us or whatever. I think it's great when people come to you. We know you're on the commission.
Yeah.
Because if nothing else, I want us to be great ambassadors for the arts.
Because with this document, I mean, one of my responses to them was it's a document to help the commission actually, hopefully, get more money. Use it for grants, use it with the commissioners. It's not meant to be, this is it scenario, but it is and I think they would like to see it more friendly to the general public instead of just to fundraising. But, that's one take from me, and don't let that persuade you either way. So, I just thought maybe it might be something we have a small gathering, beforehand, or have them talk to Kelly and see what you think is the right course of action before it goes out for general comment, I think. I mean, or for general comment, come back at us is what I should be saying. Yeah. So.
Well, anybody could, obviously people could nitpick something like that to pieces to serve their needs, but at the same time, it'd be nice to hear people's input about things they consider really important to them. Whether we change it or not, that's something else. But I mean, it would be nice to at least see what it is, talk to them about it, even if it's a special special meeting or, I don't know, whatever
Okay.
you guys think, but I think it's definitely worth talking to people.
This is Dara. I agree with what John's saying. I think we need to be as open and transparent as possible
Mhm.
and gain trust with our local community as well as artists.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
let's do that. Let's do that.
let's just do an invitation to them to sit down and let's talk. Is that what everybody's
Do you
thinking?
want to have, do you want to have like a full public art commission special meeting, or just have a couple people sit down with them?
I think that's the way to go.
Couple people?
Yeah.
I think that would be fine. Yeah.
Could we bring
Let's-
them to one of our monthly meetings? Kelly?
Right. Can it come to a monthly meeting and just share?
Sure.
it? That way it's not like hearsay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Jane, I'll touch base with you
Okay.
after the meeting. We can just, if
Mhm.
they can come to one of the public input sessions
Okay.
for the plan, that would probably be like the most appropriate, just because they can, if there are other people there, you know, it might help kind of start a conversation with some other people too, or you know, kind of show like that there's a broader agreement on some of these points possibly. And then, and so I would say that's the best way to go. And if they can't do that, then we can invite them to just a regular, you know, to the
Okay.
September Public Art Commission meeting, I guess, September 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, Jane, do you know if know them enough to know if they have like a point person or a couple of point people?
They have I want to say there might be like 2 or 3 point people.
Mhm.
I thought they were going to submit some kind of document or something, but I'll double check. It's been a while since I talked to them about this. So
How many
Okay.
people, how many folks you talking about?
I want to say there's probably 3 or 4 that are sort of working through it, and then they meet and come back and discuss. And yeah,
Mhm.
don't be scared. I mean, it's like,
Oh, no. I know. I'm just kind of curious to get like 50 people on a Zoom call. I'm like, oh, wow.
No.
Come
I don't
on,
think
that'd
it's
be
that
cool.
many. I don't think.
And then whether there you go. This is a copy of my new book that'll be coming out September. No, I think it's great actually, because
Yeah.
you know, we're always kind of. I mean, Kelly's been trying to hammer through this document and different things, and just with our input and things that are based on before, and it's really hard for us to get input from people. You know, from just artists on the street. One of my favorite things we did was when we did those community meetings and people would show up and just kind of throw out ideas. And the whole time I'm like, oh, I never, you know, oh yeah.
Never thought of that. No.
I didn't think of that. So I think it's great.
Okay,
Super.
I'll make sure they hear about the public meetings then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on the public art plan?
You mean from anything we're talking about, or just from?
No, for the public art plan. And we're just, you want to move to the artist convocation discussion?
Sure.
Hmm.
Been waiting for this all day.
Okay, where did we last leave? So the last meeting, the artist convocation discussion, I believe Jane was going to touch base with Dara about partnering with the Arts Council on the kind of a larger arts discussion.
Yes, I apologize.
It could have been me too.
We did even better. We got her on the commission. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you know, that's a way better move. That-
Yeah.
Way to go, Jen.
Maybe we
I
should-
know. It came up on my screen the next week and I went, what am I talking to her about? Wait a minute. Not enough notes. I'm sorry, Dara. I did not.
No, it's
talk to
okay.
you.
Kelly briefed me a little bit, and just to kind of let you all know, you may have heard, you may have not heard, but there's going to be a really big artist conference being held here for the next 3 years. It's Artists Thrive. It was supposed to be this July, but then COVID happened and they've pushed it back. So it will be 21, 22, and 23 during the summer. There's actually a virtual conference in the works. And so just to say that individual artists is going to be a topic that the Arts Council is going to be looking at and kind of really delving into, is how do we support individual artists better? Because that's, for those of you who know, that's typically not been a huge part of our portfolio. It's mostly been working with nonprofit organizations. So I'm excited to help in any way possible, because we're kind of doing some behind the scenes work in this arena.
Right.
That sounds great. I mean, without going into any details, I mean, we had this, off the cuff discussion a couple of months ago, and maybe I hadn't been to Winston-Salem for a while, and I was really longing for the people around me in Winston-Salem, and I thought we should just have this, pie in the sky was my idea, and India chimed in with some conference type things that she'd been to. So, I sort of thought, wow, this would be great. Maybe we should try to set this into motion. But of course, it requires a huge amount of organization to do that kind of a meeting, even if it's like a chaotic Zoom meeting. It would require a lot of invitations and a lot of work to do. And we didn't really have that. We didn't have too much of a focus because it's both like COVID and everybody psychological problems with that, and then Black Lives Matter and the new push for some really interesting artwork that happens with that. So that actually happened with that too. So that was the background for it. And so it's great to hear that that Winston-Salem is going to be the focus of, or the location for this kind of meeting. Could you say a few more things about that, Darren, what that is going to be about?
I believe the dates for the virtual conference are going to be end of September. It looks like it might be a 2 half-day virtual conference. Artists Thrive is a program funded by the Emily Tremaine Foundation, and they primarily work, or they've been doing these conferences in the footprint of the Blue Ridge Mountains. So they were in, I believe, don't quote me, I may have been Kentucky for the past 3 years. But it's going to have various, Artists Thrive is a curriculum. It's online. You can go to Artists Thrive, I believe it's artistthrive.org. And there's a curriculum for individual artists, as well as a curriculum for arts organizations, or anyone really who works with artists. And it's to try to help artists strengthen any kind of opportunity area that they might have. So there's some really interesting, you can go on there and take an assessment and kind of see where you are in their rubric, and gives ideas on what you can do to strengthen any of those opportunity areas.
Great. Wow. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, go ahead, anybody.
I was going to say, like, one of the big things about the discussion was the fact that when the pandemic hit, it really impacted the art community in a very drastic way across the world. And we realized how much artists are kind of tied with the economy in a way that could be problematic as far as careers and sustainability. And so just thinking about ways in which organizations in Winston-Salem and maybe across the state could be more supportive. And maybe it's not even just economic, but other ways to be supportive so that artists can continue to make work despite things like this. I feel like so many systems were hit, but they also revealed how so many systems across, we can talk about different systems that are problematic healthcare systems, so how as art organizations can we be instrumental in making sure that artists have all the things they need in order to maintain, at least, during global crises that could happen, so I think that was kind of like the beginning of the conversation. And how do we support one another, mentally, even if it's like, we talked about online exhibitions, a large Zoom call, just ways in which the city can bring artists together, even across the state. I feel like so many people are struggling still, right? So how do you continue those conversations so that people feel like they're supported? And it doesn't have to necessarily be monetary support, just emotional support, and just having, so something that could be organized. I mentioned I've been on a lot of calls with curators and directors, and really it's just sometimes emotional support. Like, you're not alone in this, right? Like, everybody is struggling. So just we wanted to bring you guys in to see how we could partner. And maybe that's something that you all are better at facilitating, those kind of conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just to point out that a lot of times visual artists are more alone, I guess. They don't work as much with organizations. And so we're a little bit more isolated. And I think the COVID time, I think a lot of artists are feeling that a little bit more. If they worked by themselves in a studio, or they did something like teach, or they did other things, they're more isolated. So that was also a thought that was sort of breaking down some of that isolation, just being able to talk and to be able to try to imagine, what artists can do for each other in terms of support as well.
I hear so many conversations too about how, with the existing upheavals that we're experiencing, social, political, economic, et cetera. The question is, how might we take advantage of this opportunity for change? Like, is this a chance for more voices to enter the conversation? Is this a chance for us to think about how the arts are funded? Is this a chance for artists to be more involved in questions of social justice, of equity, of transforming the environment, of how we respond to politics? And having a conversation group might be a way to ensure that the arts are attending to change and to the potential for change for the better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think about that kind of information daily. I mean, as somebody that works across the arts, I have, my hands in a lot of different aspects of the arts, and in other words, I've learned to be broke in several different ways. But I have constant input. I mean, my friends that are that are actors and directors in New York, they're out of work for a year. And, these are people that like every day have constant input and, singing and dancing and, directing and playwriting and workshops and, that just all that stuff's just gone away. And, there's a lot of mental, the mental breakdown, I guess is the best way to put it, is just amazing. Just like David said, visual artists, there's never been a better time to create, because you got all this time and you've got all this, you can stay at home and you're surrounded by your people, but it's the worst time ever to do anything with it after you create. And, a lot of my writer friends are the same way. They're just like, oh, it's great, I get to be at home all the time. But what do I do after I do it? Who do I connect to? How do I connect? It's amazing. It's never happened probably in our lifetime, certainly not in mine. I can't remember. And yeah, I think that's, Betsy, what you said. If we can support in any way, I don't know, I know this sounds way out there, but even if we can arrange for a support meeting, maybe we could invite some mental health officials to join us and just say, all the artists out there that would like to, some help, just to dialogue about it. The Public Art Commission would like to offer as much support as possible. Maybe something like that. That's kind of where we originally started with it, and I think it's worse now than when we brought it up a month ago.
And actually, all of this threads into the Artists Thrive curriculum, peer networking groups within disciplines. But yes, we would love to be able to partner to do some of these kind of virtual programs for individual artists. I also included a link in the chat box. It's also available on the Arts Council's website. We do have a artist relief fund, so any artist who has lost funds due to COVID, we have funds, and we've gotten some funding from the North Carolina Arts Council. So please share.
I think we should look at the Artist Thrive. I think let's look at that instead of trying to reinvent the wheel ourselves, I would say. And let's see if that could be applied, to some of the things, the concerns that we have. And then let's be a part of that then. That would be, either as an organization somehow or individually.
Yes.
Dara, a quick question. Is the Keenan Institute still significantly connected to Artists Thrive?
Yes.
So, Dara, you're saying that really, though, that doesn't start till 2021, right? September 2021, is that correct?
In person is, but there's actually a virtual conference that's being set up now for end of this September.
For the end of September. Okay. Great.
Any other comments on this?
Well, again, I just like to as much as we can.
What actions do we need to take?
Yeah. Well, obviously, I don't have all the answers, but I number one, I would love for people to know that we care about it and that we want to do something about it. I don't know the best way to do that, but maybe just on all of our social media, just say that the Public Art Commission is well aware of what people are going through, and we have constant dialogue about it. And if there's any input that you have or any help that you think that we could give you, please reach out to Kelly at blah 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 or something. And I don't want Kelly to have to handle everybody's problems, but I just mean somebody, some way that people know that the arts organizations, and I know the Arts Council is doing everything they can too, but just to know that we're here.
Is there any way we can? Oh, sorry, Don.
No, I was just going to say people are really feeling isolated and scared, and that's not going away.
Is there any way we can get in conversation with Artists Thrive to see how they're facilitating the conversations in September?
There's there's a planning committee, and I'm on that planning committee.
Okay.
So if you have any suggestions, please feel free to navigate. I did my ethics training earlier today, but navigate those appropriately.
I would say that the interest that we have, because we are interested in trying to bring local artists into what we do. Okay. And it's kind of, in many ways, it's a leap. And it's education, and it's experience, and it's going out on a limb, and it's bringing artists into this very different, complex, a little bit more complex world of doing work for a public and in public. It's very different than painting in your studio. And so we're really concerned about that. And we really want, we've tried to do that. And that's the challenging thing, is to get local artists involved with this kind of discussion, and getting them into the Artist Thrive, and getting them involved in, and it might be the thing that also changes the way they look at art too, so that's what I think would be important, so.
I'm thinking about India's opener. Did I cut you off, David?
Nope.
Just about how she's in conversations with curators and other artist groups, and I'm combining that with our bus shelter meeting, where I was so pleased to have so many artists interested in entering the realm of public art. And, it seemed to me like people appreciated the opportunity to learn in that context more than in other contexts that we have established. And that's maybe because there was, the promise of 12 artists achieving a modest commission. And I'm just wondering if there's a way to bring these things together. So in that opportunity, we were seeing artists sharing their work and talking a little bit about their work. And I could definitely imagine small groups of artists having a place locally to say, this is what I've been working on during COVID. This is what I'm thinking about. What feedback do you have about this work? What opportunities do you see for me as an artist? What connections should we be making? I don't know if that makes sense inside the Artist Thrive context or not, or if there might be something that we would do well to supplement and to build on the that we had this spring.
Good question.
So with the Artist Thrive, and I'll look at the website when we get off, but so the virtual conversation for local people in Winston-Salem, or is this a conversation across the state of North Carolina where everyone's going to be talking to one another? Like how are they facilitating this?
The national conference, but we want a lot of local participants.
And how will they participate?
There's going to be full plenary sessions, smaller sessions, breakouts, networks.
Okay.
So yeah, and we'll have, as soon as we get more information, we'll share it broadly.
Okay.
And it will be very cost affordable for artists.
So you have to pay to participate.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we couldn't pull together like a group of presenters to help our artists navigate some of these things. Like Dara sent us the application for the impact fund application for artist relief. And I'm thinking there's probably some other things out there that we could bring to a forum with artists to help them navigate where to find funds or where to find assistance or anything in that sort of realm. It's not really about, and I think that it's also good to say we are here to hear and help you. And if we're not hitting that goal that you need us to hit, what are you looking for? Are you looking for, other artists to talk to? Do we need to break them out into like little rooms, which you can do with Zoom now, that sort of thing. Trying to think if there's something we could do to supplement, because it may be that folks just really need to know about this. I know it was announced in the beginning when it first came out. I would have assumed by this point all the funds would be gone, Dara, but maybe not. So it might be a good chance to remind people there are still funds out there. Just a thought.
Is there any way we could do like a survey, sending it out to local artists? I don't know if the Arts Council has like a list of local artists that kind of like outlines what their needs are at this particular moment, so that way we can kind of figure out how to best, tailor it. I don't know, Kelly, do we have like everybody who came to like the bus shelter and everyone who's come to anything we've ever had the past, couple of years. Do we have like a kind of email that we can send out and just do like a quick survey for people to, see where their head's at right now?
Yeah, we have a decent sized list. It's not, it's not hundreds and hundreds of people, but yeah, it's everybody who's kind of come to those meetings.
Yeah, maybe we could just send a quick survey. We could put some survey questions together and just see where, is it monetary? Is it emotional? Like John said, is it mental? Is it, all the things that are happening right now that people are struggling with, like maybe we can prioritize them based on it. And then that way kind of figure out, like, do we send them, links to, I think we should send them funding links, but, how to make sure, like maybe we could do something and it'll help us kind of tailor how we move forward.
Would that be possible, Kelly? Would you think you'd be able to do that? Give you some guidance?
Yeah, with some guidance.
We can work together if you want.
Be easy enough to send out. I mean, we have, can do like you're talking about a survey?
Yeah, just like a quick survey just to see where people are emotionally, or financially and what they need. And then that way we can figure out how to best move forward with even partnering with Artist Thrives, right? Like what ways we can, as a committee, we can help. It'll give us some ideas because it may not all be monetary. It may be other things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I think getting input's the thing we always need the most. Just like what Jane was saying earlier about the input she got, we'd never have known that if someone wouldn't have approached her,
right?
So-called from the street that has concerns that they want to give us. I would love to find out what people think.
I think if we had a short survey, if it wasn't didn't take very long, and it gave people a chance to write a little something, that it would be really helpful for us to gauge and see maybe what was on artists' minds.
There's a document floating around right now. A lot of artists of color are signing a document forcing institutions like the Met Museum in Charlotte, some of the bigger institutions across North Carolina, to be more diverse in their everything, right? So there's a document floating around. A lot of people have signed it. This girl, Jessica, kind of headed it off, and it's been a lot of artists who signed it to force institutions to, grow their boards. And, so I think artists have certain demands right now that they're asking for. And so it'd be interesting if we tailor certain questions to see where people's heads are and what they're wanting from institutions, from committees, from organizations to do more for artists in the communities. So it could be interesting.
I'd suggest that we make it pretty general in nature and not ask little specific questions about diversity and stuff like that. Try to get whoever's responding to give us their opinions rather than us giving them too many ideas of what we want to hear. And I'm not a survey person, but maybe there's someone that can, or several people that could actually look at something just to make sure that it's going to be relevant, whatever information we get back, and not skew one way or another.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea to have the survey looked at by somebody who is accustomed to drawing up surveys. I tend to want to go ahead and open the questions around diversity and inclusiveness. Since those conversations are happening now, and they are, we've started the conversation. It feels really important to continue it and to sustain it and to give people room to know that they're okay with us to have that conversation.
Would it be helpful if we could just have more conversation about this? And because I think the Arts Council would be interested in kind of talking about some of these concerns and how it could feed into some of the kind of the back end programming that we've got for Artist Thrive.
I mean, it may be that we need a small committee to talk about about the survey, about a possible convocation, and about collaboration with Artists Thrive. Because it does seem like, as John indicated, this might be an even more important time than when we first talked about this, I think two meetings ago.
Yeah.
That the needs are maybe a little bit clearer, and they're certainly not going away anytime soon. That it feels like there will be some planning involved here and some collaborating with other groups, and it might not be for all of us to do.
Yeah, I would certainly I'd be certainly willing to talk to any group, if we're looking for that kind of a thing. I have a APHIS meeting tonight at 6, and I will certainly mention to them that we're doing it, that we want to get input from artists, because they're kind of more, on the street. I keep using that term, but you guys know what I'm talking about. As far as what artists would come to them, coming to our board with different things. That's the thing. People don't come to. That's why I really love it that people are talking to Jane about that. I mean, I've had people come to me with negative stuff that we've done, and that's good, because I know what bothers them. Like, this bothered that person, and I'm like, okay, I would like to address that. So, Dar, anything that I can do, or I'm not speaking for the whole committee, but would certainly love to exchange with anybody about it.
Yeah, happy to.
Yeah, because Betsy, you're right. It's not going to get better, anytime soon, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I just don't want the arts to go away. That's my main thing. I want to do everything I can to keep them, especially here. And I'm really interested in what they're thinking nationally. I don't mean to put that down in any way, but I really want to know what's going on here and how we can help our group of people.
So, John, it sounds like you're willing to be involved with this, and I wonder, Jane, if you would be willing, and India, I wonder if you would be willing to spend just a little bit. Just put a little bit into this with Dara, and maybe have a meeting with her. Does that sound like?
Sure. Yes.
I mean, it doesn't have to be you guys. I'm going to beg off myself because of what's happening in higher ed these days. But if that would, if that would be good, I don't think you'll have. I don't know if you want to spend a lot of time on it, but it sounds like it would be really helpful to have a small group talk through the framework of it, something like that.
I think I'm bringing Betsy with me too.
Absolutely.
Betsy and I are going to join this committee with Dara and John.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Just remind me, what's the minimum number that we could have?
We have a minimum.
Minimum.
Oh my God, I'm starting to turn green.
Yes.
Could you lose Fairyland there? I mean, really, do we have to? Are you in Narnia today? What are we supposed to see there?
What
I saw woods there for a minute.
What do you mean?
Oh, I think maybe Kelly can. What is our total membership at this point?
You don't want to have a quorum, so you have to stay under 4 people if you're talking about a subject.
So max 3?
Max 4, sorry.
Max 4, okay. Thank you.
Oh, Betsy, great. That's not too many.
Didn't David say something about what's happening in higher ed?
Yeah.
Poor Betsy. Roped in there.
Right. Yes, maybe we'll just schedule a time to meet that works for everybody.
Yeah, I can put an email out.
All right, cool. That sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks all for doing that. That would be great. Exploratory. I mean, I think this is a great investment in the future for us to do this. I mean, I'm hoping. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I think it was Betsy that said we need to find different ways of funding the arts in the future. I think this is probably going to give us a lot of groundwork for
No, definitely.
some of that. Cool. What's next?
Project reports. So for the 4th Street sculpture is kind of working tentatively on an RFP, trying to get some info from the purchasing people to make sure we do this right, since it's kind of like a 2-stage process with where we're looking for possibly inexperienced artists with good ideas, partnering up with a fabricator. So I just want to make sure to do that right, so that we don't send anybody on the wrong path. Bus shelters, we're getting those images scanned and hopefully installed in the next in mid-August, the first batch, first 4 to 6 of those. And then the memory wall, we have a request for bids out now, and Sika kind of reposted and did some social media on it too, and so there seems to be some interest in it.
Yeah, I saw that. I've seen it pop up several places.
And the Winston-Salem Portrait Project, since Janie brought it up. So since the Winston-Salem Portrait Project is so tied to community input, and they really had planned out, a big unveiling, showing off the portraits that the participants did, and then having these 9 pieces around town. They asked if we could wait a little while for the unveiling, which seems like a good idea, until maybe the spring. And they're putting the sculpture together, and we're looking at a storage space at the city for them in the meantime. But since this project is so tied to community participation, it just seems sad to try to do some unveiling without community participation. So you can't have a gathering over 20 people and there's 60 people on the sculpture. It's seems like we should wait.
Worth waiting.
So we have a spot where they can store the sculpture, since the fabricator can't. He doesn't have room in his studio for this thing. Once it's done, he wants to get it out. So the city has a pretty big storage space that we can use. So we're just looking at it.
Could we see some photographs of the work?
Yeah, it's not done yet.
Okay,
They'll probably be done in about a month.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the question is, how long are they wanting to wait? Because it doesn't seem like COVID's going away anytime soon. So the question, I guess, while they're waiting, are they making any kind of contingency plans or virtual plans? Because if we wait, we could be waiting till 2022 to unveil it, right? So I guess, are they like saying, well, let's wait until October, but in the event that it doesn't go down in October, we're going to virtually unveil it and have everybody on a large Zoom call or do something with the press? Like, are they making plans?
We were looking at the spring, actually.
Okay.
So if things don't look like they're turning around by the spring, then we'll make a different call.
Because I know like a lot of people, even in New York, and they're doing better, have canceled fall, like all the fall into the spring. Like everything is canceled, right? So it's just kind of like, I just wonder, is it smart to plan now for the possibility that the spring won't be a better time?
Right. Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe we'll do that in the winter.
Yeah. Just kind of.
And another piece of that is that they're building the strollway segment. They're building it now. It's not ready yet. So I'd like that to be a little further along, and then the property has to flip over and be in city control too before we put a sculpture there. Because right now it's owned by the state while they build it.
I was just thinking it may be something people need. Like we're talking about needs, right? And so maybe having new sculpture, having new art to look at, maybe something that can inspire this, instead of waiting until like, the spring going into the fall, into the summer, like, I don't know, like it may be something that could motivate, especially because there's so many different faces of people in the city of Winston-Salem. It could be something, and the news is so dreary right now. Like it may be a good time to inspire people with the project. I say all that, just playing devil's advocate, just a little bit, because people are waiting for a lot of stuff, and some people are just moving forward, right?
Yeah.
And saying, hey, listen, this is what it is. This is our deadline. Let's figure out how we can make this happen and make it work effectively.
We're asking a lot of these same questions around the Z. Smith Reynolds Inclusive Public Art Project, which is tied to issues of health equity anyway.
Right.
And we had postponed till December, and we're now trying to look into what are some ways that we could do an innovative celebration of that project in December, in January, at some point, because the topics that it raises are really important. And I think you're saying the same thing here, India, about this project, that it is meaningful now. And
Right.
we all need to be researching what public artists have done, have had some gatherings that have included digital elements and maybe some real modest in person, even, walkthroughs or parades or, a virtual map that people could tour the project online and then post about it. There are ways that we could think of this project as being really suitable to a socially distanced experience, but that again, planning.
I guess I'm saying people, yeah, you said it much more beautiful than me. That's it. Like, how do you, maybe because it's so tied to human connections and experiences, and there's so much division, even in our own city, right? So like, how do we bring our voices together? And I feel like now at a time where so much is heavily on COVID and tensions within like communities, it may be a good time, even from a marketing perspective, to shoot for something really positive that the city can get on top of, that people can talk about and be excited about, instead of waiting for a time where it's good. And that's when everything's going to happen, obviously, right? Because that's when, all these programs that were supposed to happen, everybody's pushing for 2021, right? So like maybe now is the time to capitalize on, the momentum of what's happening, but also the positivity that it's going to bring. It could be a much more better marketing standpoint than waiting until everything comes out at the same time, because that's exactly what's going to happen.
I think you've got a good point. I think you've got a good point that we're talking about.
Well, we could news coverage for sure, right? It might be a really great news event to say, first off, if they'll cover it, they'll show it. People can look on the TV and watch it if they're there. But it might be a really good story that we decided, just like India said, we decided to be positive, and we got together and we really want to roll this thing out. We want people to feel good about it. And the really great people at the Public Art Commission are just awesome people.
Even
go ahead. Hopefully we're getting better at doing these kinds of events also that are in-person events, like for the in-person part of it. But I'm hoping that we're getting better at that, and we're not freaked out by having masks on and having people 6 feet apart and doing an event that way. Certainly you can imagine some kinds of inaugurations for this that would actually be very dramatic in a way. You think you talked about it with the masked, and yet the people on the photographs are not masked. Many of the participants could be wearing a mask, and that would be graphically really interesting. I don't know. I'm just thinking, just sort of adding on to what you've said already. But
And I was going to say, Keisha's a part of Photoville in New York, and they have, of course, they can't have Photoville in Brooklyn or whatever, but they're still doing like public art installations in different parks across New York City. So they weren't like, we're just not going to do it at all. That didn't happen. They were like, forget that. We're still going to do it. We're going to put up these large, massive photographs in different parks across every borough in New York City, where people can come whenever they feel their leisure and look at these beautiful photographs, even though they couldn't do the Photoville New York piece. So I'm saying they didn't cancel it, right? New York approved it. They're going to have these beautiful murals all over, like installations, photographic installations all over the city of New York, and people will be able to go when they feel like it and when they feel comfortable. So I feel like they saw the need for Photoville, despite the fact they couldn't have those public forums and lectures and events and all that stuff. You know, so it's something about moving forward that I think Jasmine and Keisha need to think about, right, and consider.
Right. Yeah.
Kelly, the strollway part does need to be finished, I would think. What's the time frame for the strollway being finished?
I think the outside is October, and they're paving it now, so it's coming together pretty quick. But yeah, it would be the fall, so that's you know, we couldn't really get it out there until then anyway. So I'll go back to the next time I talk to them, I'll bring these up, and you know, we just kind of you know, once this thing's in storage, it'll be easy enough to take out and put in and pour the footer and everything. But it'll also be a question of whether we're allowed to have any kind of gatherings. You're talking about masks and stuff like that, but I'm not sure how many people we could get out there. But let's see when we can get it installed first.
Yeah, we want them to be comfortable too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, obviously, if they're not comfortable, then no, right? Like,
right.
You know, as long as they're comfortable with it. But it's just something to think about.
Yeah.
I like it.
So some other things I wanted to bring up. I don't know if any of you seen this mural project that's going on North Trade Street in the Industry Hill area. It's being sponsored by Yes to Winston-Salem, which is a local group. And they're trying to do a series of murals around town. And they were wondering if the Public Art Commission could match some funds, things like that. I told them to fill out an application, and you know, they wrote me on Friday, so I told them fill out an application, and you know, I'll kind of walk you through it, and we can talk about it at the September meeting. They said, oh, it'll be done, and the artists will be paid by then. And I was like, oh. maybe you can do another project. So they might be coming to you with some kind of application. But I told them something to think about was it was Drew Gerstmeyer's property. And I just said things to think about are, one, that you get some buy-in from the building owner, you know, just because I don't think, you know, there shouldn't be more city money going to a project that decorates a private developer's building than that private developer is putting into the project. And then also it should be a local artist, and then also looking at ways to protect the mural for probably 10 years so that it's not painted over if the property is sold or something like that. We don't want to see an investment go away for a reason like that. So they came back and asked if there are any city walls. I'd have to look into that. I mean, most of the walls, or most of the things, the areas that we have for painting in the public art plan are pretty big. They're like water tanks and parking decks and stuff like that. So we don't have much in the way of city walls. Maybe we can find some.
There's a water tank that's right off of 52 heading north that I think like screams for a mural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
That one that's on the ground.
Yeah. I feel like
that's in the plan. That's in the public art plan, that one.
Oh, good. Yeah, that one just screams for a mural.
Yeah.
I'm looking out my office window at an elevated water tank that has had art on it that is now covered up, and it looks like a UFO or something like that. Did anyone know about that?
They're just painting it. I'm not sure if they're going to have a city logo on that. That might be something we can come back to. But they've had that under contract for a while, and they need to drain it, and they can't just paint it whenever, because they have to drain it in order to paint it. So
it's caused a little bit of consternation at our office.
Oh, really?
Well, because it looks like a UFO or something like that out there. It changes all the time. So anyway, sorry.
I recommended Georgie Nakima to Drew and Max, the artist that they're using.
Yeah, she looks great.
Yeah, so I recommended her to him, and now they're using her. The mural's going to be 10 feet by 30 feet. So it's pretty big. And, Black female artist. She's from Charlotte, but she went to Winston-Salem State.
Yeah, that'll look good.
Yeah. Her work is really dope. She does a good job.
And somebody called me, Janie might know about this. Salem College is looking to do some kind of, what is it, bicentennial, tricentennial?
It's the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment on
okay.
the 26th, and we're just getting mainly the schools around to endorse. We're not looking to do it as a fundraiser. We're looking to do it as a voter registration drive down at Union Station. So I'm not looking for money anywhere to do anything. I've got a couple speakers. I've got the mayor doing a proclamation. That's kind of the gist of it. It's an awareness thing to celebrate the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, giving women the right to vote.
Stephen, I can never pronounce his last name, Dragasek.
Remote House.
Yeah, he called me and was looking for somebody who could participate. I guess they have a committee for a public art piece.
I'll call Steve and see what he's up to.
Okay. I mentioned you, and he said that you were on a different committee already. So.
Okay.
And that's all I had.
Well, we can adjourn if there are no other questions and we don't have any people that are going to take advantage of the free time at the end of our session. I guess we're coming up on time. We're getting pretty close to time.
Mm-hmm.
If there aren't a lot of people speaking at the next meeting in September, I may bring some of my students in at the end and allow them to either voyeuristically observe our meeting.
Oh, cool.
Or ask each one of you a question. I have to see as a part of my course, it's all online, so it just fits right in.
Will you all be in person, Betsy? Is Wake is School of the Arts in person? Is Wake going to be in person in the fall?
We and Winston-Salem State and all of the UNC system kind of under orders to be in person. I know that Salem announced, I think just yesterday, that they're going online. So I, like many of my colleagues, will be teaching part online and part in person. And I think Wake has a variety of, David, options. Terrified.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to even comment on that. You know, the thing is that it's obviously a changing situation almost weekly. And so
Don't know.
we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see what happens. You know, we're supposedly 60% online and 30%, you know, called blended, which is, I think, what you're describing, Betsy.
David, are you in one of those faculty learning groups that Betsy Berry is running?
Yes. Yes. Every single one of us is. Done that. Yeah. Yeah. I still am processing my learning. So I have a lot to do. So, but I do have a public art course, and that's the only course I'm teaching. And that is going to be a lot of outdoors and outside. I'm going to stress that. And but it would be great for them to see it might be good for them to see a public art meeting if it's not too boring. But I don't know. I'll just have to see what the agenda is like and see if it fits in. I don't want to make it boring for them or for you, but it would be kind of cool in some ways. Yeah, we have good discussions.
Just try not to have any human sacrifices that day or anything, right? Keep it low key.
Well, do you all want to adjourn? Can we do that?
I have to go.
Yeah.
but-
All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Do I have to say anything special, Kelly, to adjourn the meeting?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Great.
You adjourn.
Bye.
Adjourn.